What if the strange little dollar coin hiding in an old drawer, forgotten coin jar, or inherited collection wasn't just another ordinary piece of pocket change, but the beginning of one of the boldest experiments in American coin history? Most people glance at the 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar and immediately dismiss it because it looks small, common, and easily confused with a quarter. Yet behind that simple appearance lies a fascinating story filled with history, innovation, controversy, collector excitement, and surprising opportunities. Before you decide this coin is worth only $1, stay with me until the end because one tiny detail could completely change the way you look at every 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar you ever find. In 1979, the United States entered a brand new chapter in its numismatic history. For the very first time, an American circulating dollar coin would honor a real woman instead of a symbolic figure. Susan B. Anthony was chosen because of her tireless work fighting for women's voting, rights, and equal opportunity. Her determination helped shape American history, making her an ideal choice for this groundbreaking coin. The United States Mint hoped this new dollar would become a practical replacement for bulky dollar bills and the large Eisenhower dollar that many Americans found inconvenient to carry. On paper, the plan looked brilliant. The new coin was smaller, lighter, easier to transport, and less expensive to manufacture than its predecessor. Government officials believed Americans would quickly embrace it in everyday commerce. Banks prepared for its release. Businesses stocked up on the new coins. Vending machine manufacturers modified equipment to accept the new dollar. Newspapers across the country reported on what many believed would become the future of American money. But history rarely follows the script people expect. Almost immediately after entering circulation, the Susan B. Anthony dollar faced an unexpected problem that would become one of the most famous design controversies in modern American coinage. Although it was technically larger than a quarter, its diameter, color, and overall appearance were similar enough that millions of people confused the two coins. Customers accidentally handed over dollar coins when they intended to spend 25 cents. Cashiers sometimes returned the wrong change. Vending machines occasionally created confusion. The public quickly became frustrated. Ironically, many of the very design choices intended to make the coin convenient ended up limiting its acceptance. Instead of replacing the paper dollar, the coin became one of the most misunderstood issues ever released. By the United States Mint, production eventually slowed dramatically, and many pieces remained stored in government vaults for years. Yet this commercial disappointment created something collectors love, a remarkable story. Today, collectors don't simply see a failed experiment. They see the first circulating U.S. dollar honoring an actual American woman. They see an important civil rights symbol. They see a unique chapter in American monetary history. They see varieties, mint errors, proof coins, high-grade survivors, and an entire collecting series that remains surprisingly affordable for beginners while still offering rare treasures for experienced numismatists. Now let's focus on the coin itself. The obverse features Susan B. Anthony facing right with the word Liberty above her portrait. Around the rim are 13 stars representing the original colonies. To the right appears the national motto, "In God We Trust." The date 1979 rests below the portrait, while the mint mark identifies where the coin was produced. Your example carries the letter D, meaning it was struck at the Denver Mint. Millions of Denver coins entered circulation during 1979, making the ordinary version relatively common today. However, experienced collectors know something extremely important. Not every 1979 D Susan B. Anthony dollar is equal. Condition changes everything. A heavily circulated coin with scratches, dull surfaces, rim damage, and extensive wear usually trades close to face value. But coins that escape circulation with sharp details, bright mint luster, and virtually flawless surfaces become dramatically more desirable. As grading levels climb into mint state 65, 66, 67, and beyond, prices can increase significantly because pristine examples become much harder to locate. This is one of the biggest lessons every collector eventually learns. Rarity is not determined only by mintage numbers. Condition creates rarity. Millions of coins may have been produced, but only a tiny percentage survive decades later in exceptional condition. Time, circulation, careless storage, fingerprints, cleaning attempts, and environmental damage gradually reduce the number of premium examples available to collectors. Looking closely at your coin, it clearly shows signs of circulation. There are visible contact marks across Susan B. Anthony's portrait, noticeable wear on the high points, and discoloration from years of handling and storage. That does not make the coin unimportant. Instead, it tells a story. Every scratch represents years of circulation through stores, banks, wallets, vending machines, cash registers, and countless hands across America. Imagine how many purchases this single coin may have completed. Perhaps it bought groceries. Perhaps it rode inside a cash drawer at a neighborhood restaurant. Perhaps it passed through the hands of collectors searching for better examples. Every circulated coin carries a silent history that no document can fully record. But here's where the story becomes even more interesting. Collectors rarely stop after identifying the date and mint mark. Instead, they begin searching for something much more exciting: valuable varieties and mint errors. Why? Because tiny production mistakes can transform an ordinary-looking coin into an extraordinary collectible. During the minting process, enormous presses strike blank planchets under tremendous pressure. If dies become damaged, misaligned, overused, or improperly prepared, unusual characteristics can appear on finished coins. Some of these errors are minor. Others become famous throughout the collecting world. For the 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar series, collectors carefully inspect every coin under magnification, looking for doubled lettering, decracks, dechips, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, broad strikes, and other manufacturing anomalies. Although genuine dramatic errors remain uncommon, authenticated examples often command impressive premiums because each one represents a unique moment inside the minting process that was never intended to happen. And then comes one of the most famous discoveries associated with the first year of this series, the legendary 1979 wide rim variety. When collectors first began studying 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollars, they noticed that some Philadelphia coins displayed a noticeably wider rim surrounding the date, while others left much more empty space between the rim and the numbers. The wide rim variety quickly became one of the most sought-after regular issues in the entire series, because far fewer examples were produced. An important detail for viewers is this: the famous wide rim variety applies to 1979 Philadelphia coins without a mint mark, not the Denver coin shown here. Understanding distinctions like these helps collectors avoid expensive mistakes and identify truly valuable pieces accurately. Now, if the famous wide rim variety belongs to the Philadelphia Mint, does that mean your 1979 D coin has nothing exciting to offer? Absolutely not. In fact, many collectors spend years examining Denver minted Susan B. Anthony dollars because valuable discoveries can still be hiding in plain sight. Every experienced numismatist knows that a coin's true value is rarely determined by its date alone. Instead, value is created through a combination of condition, strike quality, eye appeal, rarity, certification, and in some cases, remarkable mint errors that escaped into circulation. Collectors also pay close attention to contact marks, even coins that never entered circulation were stored in large mint bags where thousands of heavy dollar coins constantly rubbed against one another. These bag marks are common on Susan B. Anthony dollars and often prevent otherwise beautiful coins from receiving the highest mint state grades. That is why certified examples graded MS-67 or higher are considerably scarcer than many people expect. This brings us to one of the most important concepts in coin collecting: third-party grading. Professional grading companies evaluate authenticity, preservation, originality, strike quality, and surface condition before assigning a numerical grade. These independent opinions create confidence among buyers and sellers. Throughout the marketplace, a certified coin also receives long-term protection inside a tamper-evident holder, making it easier to buy, sell, and insure. For ordinary circulated coins like the one shown here, certification usually isn't financially practical because grading fees may exceed the coin's value. However, if a collector discovers an unusually well-preserved example, an interesting mint error, or an apparent variety, professional authentication can become an excellent investment. Many beginners ask an important question: if millions were made, why would anyone collect them? The answer reveals one of the greatest truths in numismatics. Collectors are not simply buying metal. They are preserving history. Every coin captures the technology, politics, economy, art, and cultural priorities of the nation that produced it. The Susan B. Anthony dollar represents much more than $1. It symbolizes changing attitudes, recognition of historic achievements, and America's willingness to honor an influential woman on circulating coinage for the very first time. Although the series struggled commercially during its original release, history has treated it much more kindly. Today it occupies an important place in American numismatic collections, because it marked a turning point that eventually led to later dollar programs, including the Sacagawea dollar and the presidential dollar series. For collectors building complete Susan B. Anthony dollar sets, every mint mark has its place. Philadelphia, Denver, San Francisco business strikes, proof issues, and recognized varieties each contribute to telling the complete story of the series. Now let's return to your specific coin. Based on the photographs, this example appears to be a circulated 1979 D. Susan B. Anthony dollar with visible wear, scattered contact marks, and surface discoloration consistent with normal circulation. I do not see any obvious major mint error from these images alone. That does not completely rule out smaller varieties or minor die characteristics, but nothing immediately stands out as a dramatic high-value discovery. Its most likely value remains close to face value, generally around $1, with a modest premium possible if sold to someone assembling an affordable date and mint collection. However, this should never discourage collectors. Some of the most valuable discoveries in numismatics have come from people who continued examining ordinary-looking coins instead of assuming they had already seen everything. That is why experienced collectors recommend checking every Susan B. Anthony dollar carefully under good lighting and magnification. Look closely at the date, mint mark, lettering, stars, rim, eagle, and every design element. Compare suspicious features with trusted reference photographs rather than relying on internet rumors or misleading social media posts. Patience and careful observation remain far more valuable than luck. The beauty of coin collecting is that knowledge compounds over time. Every coin you study trains your eyes to notice details that once seemed invisible. The collector who identifies a rare variety tomorrow often succeeds because they examined hundreds, or even thousands, of ordinary coins first. So the next time someone tells you this little 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar is just worth $1, remember that they may only be looking at its spending power. Collectors see something much deeper. They see the first circulating American dollar honoring a real woman, a fascinating chapter of United States mint history, a coin surrounded by memorable controversies, and a series that continues to educate, inspire, and reward careful study decades after its release. And perhaps the greatest lesson this coin teaches isn't about money at all. It's about never judging history by first impressions. Sometimes the coins most people ignore become the stories collectors remember forever.